It's been a few months, but here's the latest update. It's all-wheel drive again. I had the drive shaft shortened about 1.5 inches. I've also installed a 2011 Element rear diff. Alright, that's the 2011 Element diff installed. And the shortened drive shaft. Alright, I've been driving it for about a month. It's doing pretty good. I fixed the wiring problems with like the VTEC and all that. There were a few problems with the harness, and they're all fixed now, so it's got plenty of power. I have a nice period correct V6 badge. Couldn't resist. So with this much of an increase in power, this thing squats pretty good when you accelerate. And I mean, it didn't have like crazy good handling to begin with, you know. Suspension's fairly soft, but now it's kind of a handful sometimes. Actually, you can see, I don't know if it'll come up on camera. Yeah, you see this mark? This is from the lip in here. But this only happens on one corner in my daily drive. Otherwise, it never rubs anywhere. So it's just an edge case. But anyways, to fix that, or hopefully to fix that, get some coilovers. Unfortunately, those. They're supposed to be ride pretty good. But it is still a daily home. Annoying harsh suspension. Well, those should be pretty good. And also, to finish off the front arms, got the inner and outer poly bushings for those. There's the fronts installed. And I've got Super Pro bushings there, and on the sway bar, then energy suspension for the shock. And the rear bushing is the one that adds more caster, more positive caster. Alright, just finished the alignment. The setup I've got barely works on an SUV. It's really made for sports cars. But if I pop the tire off the rear, there's enough room to get it on there, just barely. Anyways, so I only lowered it about half an inch. I didn't really want to lower it much at all. Mainly need the better handling. Before I did this, I did take it into town real quick to see, check it out, and it rides really good for Coilovers. Yeah, so shortly after I started driving it, I started getting a rattle for this thing because the catalyst broke free inside. And as a temporary fix, I tried to just dent it basically to try to grab onto the catalyst, but yeah, so after a few weeks of driving, it's actually managed to hollow itself completely out. Which luckily, I'm not using any baffled mufflers, so probably just went straight out. Otherwise, it'd be stuck in the muffler and probably making terrible noise. So anyways, I'm gonna put this one on, and hopefully this one doesn't have the same problem. Here's what it's looking like after about 4 months of daily driving. See the drive shaft. There's a bit of an angle there in the front, but it's been working fine. So the exhaust is still a bit louder than I want. Using lower RPMs around idle. I'm just cruising. It's not terrible, but I just like, basically I like most of my sound to be coming from the engine bay, not the tailpipe. So what I'm gonna do, so I got this vacuum operated valve. I put this in the exhaust and the vacuum just so at idle or without the throttle open much, the vacuum will hold this shut, and after a certain point it'll just open up. There's not enough vacuum. I say shut, but actually I'm gonna rig it so it's not fully shut when the vacuum's applied. I think I'm just gonna install it right here, basically up in here. Alright, it's installed. Added a little bolt here and added this onto the arm so I can screw this bolt in and out to adjust how far it's open while the vacuum is applied. Been running pretty good. Been using it for months now. I don't know if you can hear it on the mic, but the idle's a little bit. It fluctuates about 100, 200 RPM, and it idles around 1100. So the idle's a little bit high and a little bit unstable. That's about the only major or notable flaw with how it drives right now. I think it might be because I'm using an automatic ECU, and it's got like the crankshaft sensors teed off into the countershaft speed sensor at the ECU to simulate speed, basically, so VTEC will engage. And even at idle, it always thinks it's going like 5-10 miles per hour. So maybe there's something with the ECU programming that's causing the idle to fluctuate a little bit because of that. I think I'm probably going to switch to AEM EMS at some point, just to avoid any kind of small issues like that, but otherwise it drives pretty good. Yeah, the Fortunato coilovers are pretty nice, along with the poly bushings. Before like when I first did the swap, and it was just stock suspension, aside from the traction bar part. But when I'd try to accelerate out of corners, it kind of, not really torque steer, just kind of pulled a lot more. It's a lot more controlled now. Yeah, it's, as far as torque steer goes, it doesn't really do it at all. At idle and just cruising under like 3,000 RPM, it's pretty tame. It's not annoyingly loud or anything. But when you bring it up higher, it does get pretty, not super loud, but pretty loud. All the accessories work good, although you might not be able to hear it on the microphone, but I've been having an issue with the power steering pump. It whines slightly. I've been keeping track of the gas mileage, and I do about, on my daily commute, I do about 75% city and like 25% highway, and I'm getting between 17.5 and 19 miles per gallon. When I did do mostly highway, I was getting closer to 21, I think like 20 and a half or something. So there's definitely a loss there, but there's also a huge increase in power. One annoying thing is, well, I'm still using the 5-speed selector on the transmission, so I can actually move it all the way into the reverse range while I'm in motion. So, I mean, it's not a problem when you're going for fifth and you just overshoot because there's no gear there, but if you're going in sixth, you gotta be careful not to put it in or hit reverse. But after about 2 weeks of driving, it's not really a problem. You just have a feel for how far you gotta go. Another thing I think that's related to the 5-speed selector is if I'm in fifth and I want to go to sixth, I can't go straight into sixth. I gotta like let it drop into the neutral range, then put it into sixth. I'm not quite sure why, but it just doesn't go in. But now it's in, so slight annoyance. But since I'm never really going to be shifting, have any reason to shift quickly into sixth, it doesn't really affect me that much. Show the acceleration in like fifth and sixth on the hill. decent hill, so yeah, starting at 50 in 5th gear. Flooring it right now, so it's picking up. In this steeper bit, I'll do it in 6th. Start at 50. Flooring it. Basically, being in a 5th or 6th isn't really a problem. You never have to downshift, just, you know, driving normally. So yeah, I still want to build it more, I'd say, more power. I mean, always, who doesn't want more power? But for right now, I think I'm just going to leave it as is. Well, this is after a few months. A little bit dirty, but everything's held together. No real problems with anything.